Hi there, folks. I'm Colonel Wingnuts. I'm a syncopated scientist, here to give you a little musical lubrication while I slide an idea or two into your brain. Now, it won't hurt a bit. Don't worry about a thing. Today we're going to talk about water a little bit. Since we're mostly water, you're mostly water, and I'm mostly water, a big brown bag of water, playing music for you. Now, water's a pretty interesting thing, and if every man, woman, and child on the surface of the planet got their fair share of the water, they'd get about a tenth of a cubic mile, which is 110 billion gallons of water, folks, so there's no worry about you running out or anything. Of course, if you just wanted fresh water, well, that's a special deal, you know. It's only 1.6% of all water is fresh, and so you'd only get about 40 million gallons, but it's enough to run a life on, isn't it? Well, since we're on a water planet, and since we are large bags of water driving around in colored boxes, you must know that water is pretty essential for your life. Without it, you wouldn't have to be able to think. All your electrochemical processes would kind of grind down to a dusty halt. It runs chemicals around in our bodies, dissolves our food for us, and dissolves us when we don't move anymore. That's one of the things water does. It's pretty interesting in the fact that it's unique among substances, that when it cools down, why, it gets smaller like everything does, but just before it reaches the freezing point, water starts to expand a little bit. This makes it float on itself, which makes ice float. If this wouldn't happen, why, we'd be in one wet fix, because all the ice that formed on the surface of anything would then sink to the bottom of that thing, and more ice would form, and the ponds would freeze up, and the oceans would freeze up, and then even Colonel Wingnuts would freeze up. That's the way lava works. That's the way a lot of things work, but not water. I'd like to call your attention to a little something that's involved with the evolution and presence of the species on this planet. First, I'd like to point out that we're on Earth are presently alive, or in some condition resembling aliveness. So far as it looks, though, we're probably the only alive creatures in the solar system. Mars has proved to be rather disappointing, even when we sent those exquisite Viking landers there, those little Volkswagen-sized spacecraft that did all those things, and they're still clicking away up there, actually. But Mercury, Venus, the Moon, all the Jovian planets, none of them look very good for life. You might find a lot of interesting weather, a lot of pretty colors, and a whole bunch of satellites that nobody knew could exist, but as far as gardenias and orchids and even a simple flower or somebody like us, well, no thanks. Well, that may tie in with the fact that we're a water planet. 90% of the surface of our planet is covered with either water or ice, which makes it unique among the solar system. Our weather is primarily water, and being involved in the transportation processes of water. In fact, a lot of rock is water. In fact, our bodies are mostly water. Well, that may tie in with the fact that we're really on a double planet system. The moon is much larger than it should be if you look at all the other planets with their satellites. In fact, the ratio of diameters between the moon and the Earth is only 1 to 4, whereas the ratio of diameters for the other planets and their satellites is more on the order of 1 to 100. So, because of that, we have spectacular tides on this planet. Waters rise up and rise down. There's water to rise up and rise down. It makes it unique in the solar system for that kind of thing. So far, the tourists haven't arrived, though. Just us locals. Well, this all brings us to the point of realizing that since we evolved out of the ocean, the creatures that we came out of must have had to do some pretty heavy thinking and evolving in order to make their gills work like lungs. A lot of people who think about this, scientists, think that the extensive mud flats on this planet made it a lot easier for that to happen. Of course, if without the tides and without the water, you wouldn't have ocean or wouldn't have any mud flats. So it all points to the fact that we're pretty lucky to be around here. Have a moon that makes the tides, that makes the mud flats, that has an ocean that lasts, and temperatures just right to make the triple point of water right around where we like to be. And so it's one more sign that this old sweet earth of ours is taking pretty good care of us, and that we better not mistreat it, or otherwise it'll think of some non-watery things that it'd like to do that won't involve us, you might say. This fits in with all the way our life is, too. Who orders scotch without water? Beer's mostly water. Water is a strange substance. You know, we can't smell or taste anything that isn't soluble in water. Metals and what have you, that we just don't pick it up. Foods taste funny without water, or they don't taste at all. And if all the ice in the world melted by the oceans, would only be increased about 1.5%. But that would be enough to make the sea level rise 180 feet. That sure changed the outline of the state of Louisiana and Florida, I'll tell you that.
I used to watch you as you passed out of sight. I used to hope for you late into the night. I slept and dreamt in poems I couldn't seem to write. But now I see you here, clothing in a muss. Mosaics in your eyes, all composed of us. And I wonder, when did it show? That feeling made to grow, that ebb and then that flow of love. You never done me wrong and you never done me right. You never stayed to surrender and you never stayed to fight. You left me with sadness and you left me with delight. And with an easy grace you passed me by. Left no anesthetic there in any of our goodbyes. But it was nothing you could know about how my love things go. I'm just a passing cameo of love. used to tell my heart that I'd see you again. I used to wonder how, used to wonder when. My days were filled with ache and my heart was in my pen. Then one day you came to me, trembling in your smile. Came up close and told me that you'd been loving me all this while. Well, I guess I should have known. This way this wind has blown, this rhythm and this tone. Love. I used to long for you to the limits of my sight. I keep a fire lit against the gathering night. I'd open up for you, and I guess I did it right. 'Cause now I know we care, 'cause now I see that sweet and special way that we look at we. And I wonder, what's the fuss? There's not much to discuss. It's just a simple cumulus of love.
Well, I hope you liked this little musical science experiment of ours, folks. Hope you liked that last tune. That was about weather inside the human soul and love and kisses and all that stuff, you know, all that squishy stuff that songs are usually about. I hope you enjoyed this little talk we had tonight about water. I can't think of anything that music overtly makes with water except when you rub your wet finger around the top of the wine glass you've probably got in your hand right now. So until I see you again, this is Colonel Wingnuts signing off.